Welcome to the Writing Community Chat Show. Hello everybody, welcome to the Writing Community Chat Show. Indie Wednesdays is back and it's fantastic to have, we are technically now, I am back here with Chris Hooley sat by my side. If you watched the show Monday, we had a guest host on with a guest from the same publishers, which was kind of cool. Chris Hooley is back by my side, which feels much more natural. But Indie Wednesdays are back and this is technically season 5 and we transitioned from season 4 to season 5 very, very quietly, and we snuck across the border. Hello, Chris Hooley. How are you doing?
I'm very good, thank you. I'm nervous about the bubbles because I've realised I thought, I'll go for a bit of a posh drink because I turned 31 yesterday, so I was like, bit of a posh drink, and now I'm like, bubbles is not a good idea if you're going to interview somebody.
Well, of course it is. When is that ever not a good idea?
Because I'm already feeling the need to burp, so I'm like, I do not want to burp live on YouTube.
Well, for the audio viewers, please don't. But for the visual viewers, maybe just, do some sort of expression that's kind of fun for us to enjoy. Well, I guess let's start it off and address the elephant in the room. Mr. Hooley was indeed 31 yesterday, as you just mentioned. So happy birthday to you, sir.
Oh,
it's a shame that we can't meet up and have a drink right now, of course. But there are plans ahead. And if you did see Twitter, you may have seen that we have booked ourselves into a hotel for the Harrogate Festival, the crime writing festival, in July, which, if goes ahead, would be our first physical vlogging event, which will be absolutely fantastic. So we're praying that these restrictions do get lifted.
Have we confirmed that the hotel room's got one bed or has it got 2 beds?
Chris has got 1 bed.
Are you going to be big spoon or little spoon?
We'll decide that on the night, I'm pretty sure. But there's nothing wrong with that. And, 31, you're a young'un, says Anya, for your birthday. You are indeed a young'un.
Nice.
Yeah, so 1 room, we haven't made that much money on the show. And what we have made goes back into it. So spooning it is. And Linda did say spooning for the win.
Yeah, definitely.
So
don't worry, we'll film it all.
Yeah, just remember who you were spooning and please... whatever. Okay.
Spoon responsibly. That's what you were looking for.
Spoon responsibly. Absolutely. So what I'm going to talk about very quickly before I do the book token promotion is I'm going to have a little rant for the first time.
Oh.
Mario says cuddles and ice cream. More like cuddles and beer. So yes, Dr. Seuss has been in the news this week. Chris, have you heard about this?
Oh, I did hear about this. I'm slightly concerned where your rant's going to go. No.
Well, do you know what? Dr. Seuss and his works have been in my life, my kids' lives, and we've read these books over and over again, and they've been exceptionally sold around the world. But obviously, there's been a bit of dispute about some of the content in the books, and I originally kicked off. I thought, you can't ban the books. I mean, you've got videos like, WAP was a #1 hit and all this stuff, and you've got kids watching this stuff, but you've got Dr. Seuss books that have been notoriously famous and made ridiculous money getting banned. But I misread, because it's not all of his books, it's about 6 of them. So I don't exactly know what was the contents of those ones, so I'll hold my hands up. But it seems crazy in this world that we're doing that, and this kind of late on in the career of that person. But Dr. Seuss is adored by millions around the world for positive values in many of his works. It goes on to say that I think it was and to think that I saw it on Mulberry Street, If I Ran the Zoo, McElliot's Pool, On Beyond Zebra, Scrambled Egg Super, and The Cat's Quizzer were the books that were banned. So it's kind of a rant, but not a rant, because I don't know the content, like I said, but it's kind of crazy that that's happened. But don't, if you have any of those books, get rid of them, because one of them was actually up on eBay for $1,500 this week.
Wow. Let's be honest, they're the books that nobody's ever read. So they're not going to make too much of a difference in the grand scheme of things. And I'm sure he wouldn't mind.
Yeah, I mean, but I have read Scrambled Egg Super, but I can't remember it. But my point is, and if you want to know, he actually made 33 million
Wow.
before taxes in 2020.
Wow.
Yeah, impressive,
I
right?
bet he wishes he was alive to spend it.
Well, he's not. But do you know what is also a connection to you and this story?
Yeah.
You do?
No, I don't know. I mean, my son's going to be the Grinch for World Book Day tomorrow. So,
It's World Book Day tomorrow, indeed.
yeah.
It was his birthday yesterday, or would have been.
Ah,
So you
nice.
share a birthday with Dr. Zeus.
Nice. That's a good claim to fame. And Bon Jovi. That's my favourite one.
Wow. Yeah, that is a good
Um,
one.
Bon Jovi and a City goalkeeper that no one will ever know. If you're a City fan, you'll know who he is. It's Nicky Weaver. And when I
Yeah.
found that out as a kid, I was like, woohoo!
Amazing. So let's get on with the beer token promotion before we get our guest on, of course, because these beer token promotions support the show and keep us going, like I mentioned. So please get involved. If you want your book promoted from the show, get involved and find it on our website. So today's beer token book promotion is a previous guest of ours. You'll probably know him by now as well on Twitter. He is Marcus Acco, or he is the idiot on the writer's block on Twitter and YouTube. He is doing I guess, a streaming show, video show based on interviewing writers or experts, as he calls them, to give him the perfect advice to release a novel or two novels. He's doing two different types of novels. But his first book, Call 1-800-KILLER-GUY, which looks fantastic, is available for pre-order right now. And it is only on ebook for the moment because pre-order on Amazon. But please do check that out. And I will play his trailer for this right now, and you can all watch
Oh,
it,
nice.
and it's fantastic. So let me get rid of that. Bear with me. Here you go.
It's supposed to not have sound, mate.
I apologize. I do this all of the time because I'm an idiot. Give me a second. So this is quite a common thing. If you use StreamYard, you'll know this. You know this. Good job, Chris. Right. I don't know. Nearly did it again. Okay, are you ready? This, remind me. Oh, let me know if it works.
No, mate. I can't hear that. Just you. Well, visually, it looks very good. But I can't hear anything.
Can you still not hear it?
No.
Oh, I could have read it out, but I don't know the script. Well, there you go. Call 1-800-KILLER-GUY. That's super annoying that you can't hear that. And it's a great piece of silence for the show. So that is a great video, and I'll put it up on the screen there, guys. It really is. What I'll do is I'll leave a link, and that is not the cover. That's a great piece of art that is on his Instagram and all those sort of things. It does look absolutely fantastic. Very Sin City-esque. So if you like that sort of stuff, check it out. It's a bit Sin City. It is very much so, and epic. Yeah, if you had been able to hear that, you would have heard that it sounds fantastic as well. Anya said she's already pre-ordered this, and I can't wait. Perfect title. It is indeed. You know, very original looking and very much along the lines of Sin City, which is something that hasn't been monopolized, I don't think. So, Chris, are you ready for today's guest? And audience, are you ready? If you are, let us know. So she is an author who writes Regency romances. She released her fourth book in February this year, an author with a great presence on the writing community world in Twitter. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Kelly Miller. Hello.
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 How are you doing?
I'm okay.
It's fantastic to see you here. Thank you so much for joining us. And there's been a
Thank you
lot
so
of
much for
anticipation. Yeah, you're welcome. There's been a lot of anticipation on Twitter this week for you coming on the show from a lot of our circle on Twitter. So I'm sure they're very appreciative to have you here. How are you? How is Kelly? How is her world?
Everything, I mean, I'm lucky living in San Jose, California, where we enjoy good weather most of the time.
Yeah.
There is a bit of lockdown going on. Like we can't eat in restaurants. We can eat
Okay.
outdoors. if there's outdoor seating and if it's not, too cold. So.
Well, that's fantastic. I mean, if you're just doing a little bit of lockdown at the moment, you're doing quite well compared to some of us in the UK.
Yeah, I mean, al fresco eating is the one. Like,
yeah.
If we went outside at the minute, my food would get cold very quickly. So,
do you know what? I think last week it hinted at spring. Kind of felt a bit warm, but this week it's gone back to horrible. But a lot of love for you on the chat. So thank you guys for joining in. Again, send your questions in for the second half of the show. So Kelly, before we do get into some questions, can we please find out about how writing became a part of your life?
Okay, I started very late. So I guess I'm an example of it's never too late to start something new.
Yeah.
Because I had basically finished a career working for the Postal Service, in which I did a number of jobs and then took an early retirement. Mm-hmm. And in all this time, I never once in my younger life thought about being a writer. It just never seemed like something that I would take to. I think in part because I've always been an active person. Like I hate being confined. Like long car rides, annoy me. It's like I'm like, we have to stop. I need to get out and walk. So yeah, it was strange. But before I wrote my first manuscript, I was over 50, and the writing, it just seemed to come fairly easily, even though my technique was very wanting in the beginning. I just didn't know what I was doing, but I just kept writing.
Yeah.
So
what was the inspiration for that to happen? I mean, I know it was like sort of a change, and you'd moved from an active thing, and this became something that you happened to do. But why was the decision to do it? What was that decision?
I think because I started reading books in the genre of Pride and Prejudice Variations, and I don't know really how I came to start reading them, because in the past, my favorite reading genre ran more to mysteries or suspense, not romance really at all.
So there has been a similarity made between your work and having a fantasy element. Is that kind of where that comes from, perhaps, that you had a different background in reading, or your appreciation of reading that merged with this?
My first book had a fantasy element, not anything like the high type of fantasy that is so popular. And it was more like a tribute to old movies that I watched as a child and really enjoyed. Movies about angels, like It's a Wonderful Life, or Death Takes a Holiday, which is where I got my title. Death Takes a Holiday at Pemberley. And so I just thought it would be a fun idea to mix that sort of genre of, a visitation from an angel-like person, and mix it into a Pride and Prejudice sequel.
So was there a book, Kelly, that you read in that genre that you thought, do you know what, I can do better than this, and I'm going to do it?
I would say, I think, like most people, I feel like I'm unusual. So literally everything I read, there was something in it where I thought, well, I think this dialogue could have been more realistic, or I think this plot point, was just too hard to believe, or even though I overall enjoyed the book. So that was why I guess I challenged myself to say, well, what would I write then?
Yeah.
So how did you find that initial switch from being a reader to being a writer? And obviously, if you're saying you did find faults in most things that you read, how did you then transfer that mindset into writing your own work? Because a lot of us know that writers are their harshest critics themselves.
Right.
So how did you manage the two?
I wrote what I wanted to read. So I would read a book and I would think, well, I like this book. It would have been nice if there was a little more of this or a little more of that or a little less of this. And so that was what I had in mind when I would write a story. And I think I must have had an instinct for writing a plot, because I never read anything about this is how you should write a plot or anything like that. But for my first book, I got a ton of help, literally a ton of help and education from my editors, especially Carol Bowes, and my other editor as well, Ellen Pickles. So, without them, I couldn't have done it, for sure.
Were they a big help, having editors there to guide you through the learning process as well? Because they are a massive assisting force, whereas you were stumbling into your writing, discovering that. And you mentioned before that it was quite a difficult or an unknown transition. So as someone that was just going into that, was it a real help having those editors on hand?
For sure. And it was like getting a masterclass in writing as we were editing my first book.
Yeah.
Literally, I didn't know anything, but someone somewhere recognized that, hey, this person might have potential, and they took a chance on me, basically. And luckily, it worked out well. I have to say it worked out well because the book has won a couple of first prize awards in romance. And not that I put a ton of stock in awards, because, who's to say how many people entered that particular award that particular year. And, you might, it's a matter of luck, I think, as to who you get as a judge. All those things.
I think you'd be very humble there. I mean, it could have been a lot of people in that award.
I just don't know.
Hundreds. Yeah, but it's great to have the recognition and to acknowledge that work that you put that time and effort into, even with editors' help, that you still didn't know at that point that your work would be valued. But it has been very well valued, hasn't it? Yeah. So
it has.
Yeah.
It's great. The thing that I most want is for my books to find the readers who are going to love them. And so, that's what I strive for. That's why I promote my books on Twitter and on Facebook and wherever I can.
Absolutely.
So, Kelly, how do you go about finding them readers? Because obviously we've got a lot of people that are watching tonight that are probably thinking, do you know what? Kelly's won these awards. She's clearly someone that we can get some good advice from. So what advice would you give to them in terms of marketing, for one, and also how did you find that relationship with those editors? Because, having a relationship with an editor is quite a personal thing, especially if you get someone on board that knows what you're trying to do and helps craft that vision and make it better. So what advice would you give to somebody who's looking to do both of those elements?
Well, I was lucky on a few fronts. For one thing, there's a built-in market, I would say, for these Jane Austen variations. Jane Austen has a ton of fans. She has Jane Austen international associations, and every year it seems like she gets stronger and more popular. And like I was telling you earlier, she's on your money.
That was a comment that I didn't get instantly. I was like, what do you mean? What's that comment? Kelly is one of the best writers in, where's that say? I don't even know what it says. Biased fan. Austin Q? I don't know. Kelly rocks. So there's a lot of appreciation for your work. But there's one of those. Your first book you released, was it in 2019? Death Takes a Holiday at Pemberley.
Yeah.
So there was a review that wrote, Death That Takes a Holiday at Pemberley is a wonderful Regency romance novel with a paranormal flair. Miller has a talent for detail as backstories are given and Jane Austen's beloved characters seamlessly come to life. That is a fantastic review in the way that you are able to work on such a famous author's characters and bring them to life even more so, and the detail in the backstory. So you must have really appreciated the work in the first place to be able to understand that. So how much of a fan of Jane Austen are you, and was there a pressure in then writing work based on her work?
Yes, for certain, I'm a big fan of Jane Austen's, and I respect her talent. I mean, I don't presume to compare myself to her as far as her talent. It's amazing to think that she wrote 6 complete novels, and like the modern day writer has so much help. You know, if you want to look up a word on a dictionary, you do that online. If you want a thesaurus, you have that online. She had none of these things. I mean, she might have had books, and then she was writing by hand, and they didn't have the pens that we have now.
Oh, I know.
They didn't have good light. There were so many things. And then towards the ends of her life, she had failing health besides. So she overcame all these obstacles, and it wasn't even accepted for a woman to be a writer, really. That was why so many writers who were women, they published anonymously. She had very little success in her lifetime.
So was there a pressure in your writing when you started doing it, that you may be judged for writing that sort of thing? I know it's quite a popular a process these days. So was it kind of like it's all right to do it because it's often done, or did you feel like I'm treading on toes a little bit?
Well, no, I mean, I felt like it was okay to do it because so many people were already doing it, and you know, readers are already buying these books. I didn't start anything new, not at all. There is, I mean, I should say, like what I write is and can be considered fan fiction, and there's a certain view that maybe fan fiction is less than a work that is completely original. And before I started writing, I probably might have thought the same thing, but when you're doing it, you realize that in order to capture the idea of someone else's characters and place them in different situations, it's restrictive and it's difficult in a way that I think exceeds writing your own original characters. And of course, I do that as well in my books. I write original characters. And I think it's more difficult to stay true to these characters that so many people have learned to love and do them justice. So I actually think it's a greater challenge than just writing something brand new. And of course, you know, other people may disagree with that, but there is that pressure. And I'm sure there are people that read my work and they might think, oh, I don't like her portrayal of Darcy, or I don't like her portrayal of Elizabeth. But I try to write what I think they're going to do given the circumstances that I give them, because I give them circumstances that Jane Austen did not in her novels. So
it must be very, like you mentioned, it's very difficult to write a character that's already been portrayed in a certain way, is already loved by the readers. So what was the biggest challenge you face whilst writing, say, Mr. Darcy, as someone who was trying to stay within those boundaries but not, and trying to make it your own at the same time?
Right. Well, like in my first book, I'm writing a sequel, so I have to extrapolate what Mr. Darcy is going to be like 3 years into a marriage to his Elizabeth that he loves. And in the original Pride and Prejudice, we see a transformation. We see Mr. Darcy, who starts off very arrogant, very reserved. And we see him in the middle of the book, very outgoing, really trying to impress Elizabeth Bennet's aunt and uncle. And we also see moments where he's flirting with Elizabeth. And then towards the end, he's more reserved again. So his nature is clearly to be reserved, but what it's shown is that if he has the right incentive, he can present himself in a different way, and he will make that effort.
So, Kelly, what are the problems with trying to present this story to a more modern audience then, in terms of obviously the issues and social issues that were around it when Jane Austen was writing is very different now. So how do you try and incorporate the ideas that you want to get across, but stay in that world?
Right. Well, that's part of what drew me to Jane Austen's work is the Regency era. And so everything I've written so far has been in the Regency era. And I've challenged myself to use words that they would have used and, limit myself to phrases and terminology and customs that would have been true to that era. And I don't go so far as to use some of the antiquated spellings that Jane Austen used in her original, but I do try to keep to spellings that would have been more true to the era.
I mean, writing dialogue for something in that era must have been very tricky. Is that something you had to practice or look into, or was it something you found quite natural to do?
Well, certainly my editors helped me with that, but there are just certain things that you don't do, like the gentry do not use contractions. And, even a mild swear word like damn would not have been said by a lady. A gentleman, perhaps, but not in the presence of ladies.
Wow, so fantastic. Obviously with your readership then, you've got a readership that are a big fan base already. So have you got any strange or weird stories where people have got in touch with you and gone, Kelly Miller, like, what did you do here? Or Kelly Miller, you did this and it was amazing. And so you got any strange or wonderful stories? I suppose that's the question.
No, I've only had people contact me for my books to say something nice, like, I read your book and I really loved your book. Of course, on Twitter, I've had all kinds of strange people give me DMs, like we all have. But yeah, they were not related to my books.
Well, there's one review I've got here, and it says, I've enjoyed all of Kelly Miller's books tremendously. She writes with a mastery of the Regency period, sketching the towns and manners vividly. That's a fantastic compliment as for an author to receive when you're writing in those eras.
Because I was thinking, sorry, Chris, I was thinking in that moment, Kathy Bates, like, obviously she's obsessed with, I can't remember the guy's name in Stephen King, the author, but she's obsessed with his work. So I was wondering if there's anyone who's ever got in contact with you going, I will pay you to write this story of these two people or these characters within this world. Can you do it? That's what I was imagining. Some sort of strange internet Kathy Bates.
No. In fact, there's a Netflix show with a very similar storyline. It's a horror story.
Wow, Netflix already did it. Damn.
Yeah, Netflix already did that.
Well,
no, but yeah.
You never know. If someone's got enough money out there right now, Kelly is the person to go to if you want a really good Jane Austen story. She can spin one for you.
I mean, these Regency dramas and romances, they're very popular at the moment as series, TV productions. Why do you think that is now? And it seems to be Netflix leading on this as well. Why do you think that's having a resurgence now?
I don't think it's just now. I think every so many years there's a new, like there was recently a new Emma movie, which is another Jane Austen movie. It's probably time for a new version of some of her other novels as well. And I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if they're in the works already.
Yeah.
And I think they're always going to be popular. So, I mean, definitely. That the straight versions, and then whether they're that or they're the ones with, like the zombies. Pride
Yeah,
and Prejudice zombies.
there
So
is. I
there's
think
So,
more for it.
is there anything out there at the moment, Kelly, that you would like to see that hasn't been done?
In a movie or in a book?
Yeah, well, both.
Well, if it's in a book, then I guess I'll write it.
yeah,
But if
Yeah.
it's in a movie, I mean, as far as I'm concerned, they could come out with a new version of Pride and Prejudice every year and find different actors to do it and find a different, different directors and a different interpretation of it. And that would be interesting to me, but maybe that's a bit too much for the general public.
yeah.
I don't know.
Oh, amazing. So can we, before we move on to the next kind of, or finish off with the first half of the show with the staple questions, can you tell people that may be watching or listening to this, looking back at the podcast, about your new book and what that story is basically?
Oh, the latest one
Yes, please.
is a novella, and it's just like 104 pages, I think, and it's just basically a shortened version of Pride and Prejudice. So it's a new way that Mr. Darcy and Miss Elizabeth Bennet meet, and they get together sooner because it's a novella, and it takes place for the most part in Hertfordshire, which is where Elizabeth lives. So that's
Fantastic.
basically it. I think it has a little bit of humor, and the usual villains show up and try their best to cause trouble.
Excellent.
So, Kelly, I've got a bit of a strange question, but one of my favourite interpretations of Jane Austen is actually from an author that we had on the show called Jasper Ford. And he has her in his Thursday Next series. She's in the first book. And basically they're trying to change the ending of one of her novels. And his main character is part of a literary history agency where people are going back in time and changing the endings to novels. So that's my favourite interpretation of Jane Austen in a book. So I was wondering if you had, other than obviously your own writing, somebody else's portrayal that you've really enjoyed.
There's a lot. There's some wonderful authors out there. There's Susan Lauder writes wonderful books, as does Melanie Rachel. And I mean, I don't want to list a ton of names because I'm going to forget.
Yeah, two's fine. Two's good.
Yes, two's fine. Halo says, ooh, P&P with zombies. Absolutely. I've got a feeling Tony Lee came on the show a long time ago. I think he wrote one of those, So
Did he?
check that out. Yeah, I think so. I've got a feeling. I can't remember if this is correct or not, but I'm sure he did. Check that out. So, Chris, let's get on with some staple questions, and then we can get some questions in from the community. So if you do have questions writing community, people watching this right now, drop them in the chat, and we will ask very shortly.
So I feel like the character one is quite obvious, but we have a question that is, if you could change the ending to any novel, which novel would it be and why? So I'm going to go with that one.
Oh. Well, one of my favorite books is Rebecca. So would I change the ending to that novel? I do think it's a shame that the house had to get burned down. So, yeah, perhaps I would find another way for the evil housekeeper to make her demise. I mean, maybe she could just throw herself out of the window like she was hoping the protagonist lady would do.
Nice.
Well, I can see why Chris left this question, because it's about writing another character, which you have obviously done. But if there's a character other than in Jane Austen's world that you could write and adapt to your own works, and do whatever you want with those characters or that character, what character would you choose?
What character would I choose? Oh.
Yeah, it can be from TV, film, literature, any character that you'd really like to write.
I haven't really thought about it. I can't think of one.
It's all right. We can come back to it or move on. Chris?
Yeah, so this one's a morbid question, but we're going to ask it because we always do. So you're on your deathbed and you're looking back at your writing career. What would you be happy with? What is success to you?
I would be happy with whatever. I mean, I think whatever having 4 books is awesome. As someone who never thought she'd be a writer, that's pretty wonderful. So yeah,
Nice.
Hopefully I'll write more decent books. So yeah, I think I'll be happy with my body of work, I hope.
Yeah.
So, and yeah, I want to keep writing as long as, I find the process really rewarding, engaging. It's good for your brain. It's a creative outlet.
Yeah, this is a bit of a strange question. I've never asked this before, but with obviously the angel element in your books, do you have any sort of beliefs, like beyond life and what happens and stuff like that?
My beliefs, I was not raised with a religion per se, I guess like most people. So I have an understanding and I respect people to believe whatever they want to believe. I guess I'm someone who says I don't really know. So I guess we'll see what happens. But I'm open to things like I recently wrote like a blog post about love at first sight. Because in my novella, Darcy falls in love really quickly, although it's not at first sight, but it's similar to that. And so a lot of people just disbelieve in it, and yet a lot of people believe in it. And it's usually because they've either experienced it or they've seen it happen with someone else. So believing in the afterlife or believing in ghosts, unless you believe from religion, which it wasn't drummed into me. So I think people tend to believe in things if they've had a direct experience. So like you believe in ghosts if you've seen a ghost or you think you've seen a ghost.
That's true.
I haven't seen a ghost, but I'd like to. So my mind is open.
I would like to, I think. Chris, would you like to see a ghost, or would you kind of be freaked out by that?
Depends on the ghost, to be honest.
And if it's in your attic or not, yeah?
Yeah, I mean, if it was a little child ghost, that would freak me out. But if it was like a sort of, like the old man from Up, that would be the best type of ghost.
What if the best type of ghost, some old guy appeared at the end of your bed and you were terrified, but he said, it's okay, I'll tell you how to write the best stories ever, and he just wrote the stories for you.
Yeah.
That'd be kind of good, right? That sounds like a right Ricky Gervais film.
It does. I'd feel hollow at that though. Like that's cheating, isn't it?
That is literally. We could make that film and call it Ghostwriter. Surely.
Yeah. Ghostwriter, love it.
Yeah. Mario says if he was a hot ghost, what, the old guy? Come on, Mario. Oh, hang on, I'll take that down. What we're going to do very quickly before we get some questions from the community and ask you those, we will do a new writing community family member. So, Kelly, I hope you like rock metal because there's a video coming up, and we will get the new writing community member on very shortly. So, new writing community member is this week. What we do, Kelly, is we get someone on Twitter that's followed the show, may not have a massive following, and we try to get people to follow and send them a GIF and say, welcome to the family. A GIF is in the GIF, an animated picture. Is there something that you're really into? And it could be Jane Austen. It could be anything. What would you like us to send? Leanne Oliver at Leanne_Oliver1. is a publicist for Orion Books and has 2,095 followers. Doesn't say much about her other than publicist. So what can we send that person?
Oh, mate, she followed me the other day and I feel like she's going to unfollow me now.
That's fine.
It's not fine. She's a publicist.
That's all right. Your choice, Kelly. What do you want to send them? Or get the people to send them?
Well, you can't go wrong with a puppy picture.
Ah, the second dogs we've had on the gifts this week. So please find puppy picture and send to Leanne_Oliver1 and say welcome to the show and freak them out.
Normally I put no content whatsoever. I just let it go.
Don't put an explanation, Chris.
I'm putting #new family member. Because
well, yeah, do that. #new family member or #WCCS or something. So at least they're not too confused. So while they're doing that, Kelly, is there an author that you are really into? Could be someone we might have heard of already tonight, but is there someone that you would recommend? It could be someone from the writing community, in fact.
Oh, someone from the writing community?
No, it can be anybody. I'm just spitballing.
Okay. I think that someone who deserves more exposure than what she gets is Isla Golden.
Okay.
She is an amazing talent, and she writes mystical fantasy, really unusual and unique, even though that's an overused word. But she's really got her own style. And her books are so different, and they're all so fabulous. So,
fantastic.
She writes horror, she writes fantasy, and she's really awesome.
Brilliant, cool.
Okay.
So, guys, if you have got questions for Kelly, send them in right now, and we'll ask what's come in so far. And if there aren't any more questions at the end, and we need more questions, we'll ask some random ones. So you best send some good ones in. Okay. Thoughts on Bridgerton, if you've watched it, since it's also Regency era. Is that the one that's on Netflix currently full of
Yes, hang on a minute.
Yeah.
Where's the question time video?
Oh, hang on.
Come on.
We haven't played that one, though. We never played that one.
Yeah, we do. See, the videos make us highbrow, or more highbrow. You can't miss them out.
Well, do you know what? I've been very busy lately, and my brain's just not with it. It's multitasking is not going too well today. So, thoughts on Bridgerton? Is that the one that's on Netflix currently? That's full of rumpy pumpy from the old days.
Yes. It's very entertaining. I enjoyed it. I watched it with my husband, but the funny thing is that my husband reads my books, and his favorite is more like the naval historical novels.
Okay.
And so he was objecting, like, even more than I was, at the things that they did that was not really authentic to the time. Like they showed the star of the story was a duke, and they showed him like dressed for an evening out, and my husband was like, oh my God, he's not wearing a neck scarf.
Wow. Yeah, I don't think that's the sort of thing I would be paying attention to in that period drama, I don't think.
Yeah.
How do you do that? What's the difference between modern day rumpy pumpy, as you put it, to period drama rumpy pumpy? What's the difference?
More clothes?
Difference? Well, I don't think that as far as that goes, it's not different in that in the Regency, there was sex outside of marriage and things like that. But I mean,
I'm guessing it would have been colder.
You had to worry about your reputation especially if you were a lady in the Regency era. Regency era.
Interesting. Excellent. Thanks for that question, Halo. Next question, Anya. Is there any situation that is too far out there to write in a P&P context?
I don't think so. I think people have done everything you can think of. Pride and Prejudice and vampires and zombies and dragons and magic. So I mean, it's all been done before.
I mean, out of all of those things, vampires are so unrealistic. It's ridiculous. Yeah. So, thank you, Anya. Studio 54, hello. What's your next book about?
I have written a manuscript that's a variation on another Jane Austen novel. Probably of all her novels, it's second in popularity to Pride and Prejudice, and it's called Persuasion.
Okay.
So that I hope to get published this year.
Fantastic. On that note, this is obviously your fifth release then. How much more improved is your writing ability or style now? Is there much change from when you first embarked on that journey with your editors?
Well, improved, I guess that depends on the reader. I mean, yeah, I think a writer should always be trying to improve. So yes, I'm always trying to learn. I'm always trying to improve. But
what would you have told yourself if you were sat there now and you could speak to yourself when you were just about to start writing that first book? What would you tell them, that person?
Review grammar rules.
I'll vouch for that. Yeah, excellent.
Yeah, I've had to do that. And it's not like I'm an expert now, but it's helped a lot just reviewing those basic rules that, I mean, I learned them once a million years ago. And so I tend to think, well, I learned them, so I know them, but no, that was so long ago. I had to relearn them.
Cool. Nice. Okay. Colin Firth or Matthew McFadden Darcy? Question mark.
Colin Firth for certain. I mean, really.
I think Joe Paulson backs you up that says Firth.
Firth
in capital letters.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
She is correct.
Jodie Cook, what element of the Regency era have you not yet delved into that you would like to explore?
I don't know. I mean, I probably have yet to think of it. So, I mean, I've delved into a lot of different things. So I probably don't want to give away what I might delve into next.
Don't worry about that.
I want it to be a surprise.
Yeah.
So, Kelly, if you woke up tomorrow and you're in a weird life on Mars situation where you woke up in the Regency era, what would your position be? Where would you like to be placed?
The higher up, the better. I would probably have to also change into the body of a Caucasian. And then hopefully I would be of the gentry, because otherwise I think life was pretty rough for people. And even of the gentry, it might be rough, but your chances were better.
Yeah. So. Well, hopefully it's not a weird Freaky Friday situation and it actually happens.
Hopefully I can write my script and get the way I want.
David Middleham, hello. He says, when writing characters that have been already portrayed in TV and film, do you picture one of those characters when writing, or does it make it harder to picture them in your mind? That's a good question.
Well, as I said, my favorite portrayal is Colin Firth's. So yeah, I don't necessarily always picture him when I'm writing, but yes, he is generally who I think of. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he's not a bad character or actor to have in mind all the time, is he?
Yeah.
He's not bad to look at, Colin Firth.
Jodie says, does anyone know her Twitter handle? Jodie, who are you referring to? Was it? Is it?
If it's Jane Austen, she hasn't got one.
Yeah. Kelly, do you know your Twitter handle in case it's you she's asking?
Yeah, at KELLYREI 007.
007.
Nice.
Is that a reference to a James Bond movie?
No, it's just a 007 is just a number that has been assigned to me more than once in my life. So
okay.
It seems, 7 is kind of a lucky number.
Yeah. There's a lot of people in the world that actually believe that the letters of your name or numbers they're referred to, and numbers play a massive part in sort of destiny. I kind of think that's kind of a bit weird. Is that something that you're referring to, or is this?
Oh no.
Okay.
Oh no, it's just I think some people do think 7's a lucky number. So.
I've got. I think, is this Golden? Is this the author that you were talking about? Right,
Yeah.
so that's who they were referring to. There you go.
Oh,
Recommended
okay.
an author, and someone's looking that up. That's fantastic. Brilliant. Chris, let's get onto some writing community random questions, shall we?
Yeah, go for it.
Why not? Kelly, this is a simple yes or no. Pineapple on pizza.
It's a no for me. But my husband does not think it's pizza without the pineapple.
Okay.
So we usually get separate pizzas.
Wow.
I've got a weird one. Who would win in a fight to the death? Emily Bronte, Jane Austen.
Oh,
She doesn't want to kill either of.
who would win in a fight to the death? I guess it depends on when in their life. If Jane Austen is in her top form, I'm going to put my money on her.
Okay.
Nice.
Oh, okay. I don't know if you have these sort of chocolates and stuff in America. I'll have to move on to that one. Do you like Star Wars or Star Trek or either of those things?
No. I know that puts me in a small minority.
No, that's fine.
Oh,
Yeah.
I got a strange one for you, Kelly. So, just like in Rebecca, unfortunately, now I hope this doesn't happen, but your house burns down, and you only have time to take one object out with you. What object are you taking?
You mean besides my dogs and my bunny?
Yeah.
Only one.
Yeah. So
I
your
have
dogs are already out there. They're safe.
They're already out.
One object.
Oh. And that's hard then.
That is a tough question, Chris. I mean, what would you take?
I mean, I don't know if it makes sense to grab my laptop or I don't know. I can't grab all my books, and that wouldn't make sense either. So,
yeah, Chris, what would you grab?
Obviously, children are safe. The missus is safe. I'm actually reading a book at the minute, which I'd probably grab because I want to know how it ends.
I can't leave the story go. I mean, I'm pretty sure you could just get another one after the house has been.
No, because it's not out yet. It's not out till June, so
well, yeah,
I would have months of waiting and having to find out. So if that happens, I'm taking that book.
Halo says she'll bring the Nick Cage statue, of course. Jodie says she'd grab the rum. That's a great decision because it's flammable for a start. It makes trips.
And you're going to need a good drink.
Yeah, definitely. Kelly is amazingly good. Okay. Oh, there you go. Kelly, you are wonderful. Please tell Kelly. Best wishes from Germany.
Oh, thank you, Michaela.
I read that as grandma then. Because I'm not wearing my glasses. I thought like your grandma just popped on and go, please tell Kelly she's amazing.
Kelly, are you okay? This might not work either. Elvis or Beatles?
Oh, I love both.
Oh, okay.
But Beatles had more songs that I love, so I guess I would have to say Beatles for the songs.
Nice.
Yeah.
I got another one. Allegations aside, so they don't exist. Michael Jackson or Prince?
I don't think you have to start that question with allegations aside, Chris.
I do, because it does affect decisions.
Does it?
No, yeah, I think it's good to know.
Okay.
I guess Michael Jackson.
Yeah, I like Michael Jackson a lot. His music's fantastic. Still well ahead of his time, I think.
Yeah.
Did you know, Halo, that there's a university society in the UK called Nicolas Cage Society? We did not know that.
That is awesome.
People meet up and watch Nick Cage films and talk about him. Oh, Halo's moving to Britain. That's happening. Oh, that's wicked. Okay, one more. Let's have a. What else? What else have we got in the bank?
Who would you side with in a battle, Zeus or Hades?
Zeus or Hades?
Where did that come from, Chris?
I honestly don't know.
I don't think 99 people we asked would answer that question. Oh, except Halo.
I don't know.
Hades.
I'll let them fight it out.
Yeah, Halo says Hades straight away. Okay.
I mean, Zeus was not a good guy, was he? Really, let's be honest.
Well, maybe he was misunderstood.
He wasn't. He was a rapist and everything. He was really bad.
Hades question mark. So they don't. No one knows.
Mm,
He can make a corpse army. Hades can.
you could.
So that's quite good.
Mm.
It's quite an attribute, I think.
Oh, an easy one. Are you a cat person or a dog person?
I'm a dog person, but I mean, I would love to have a cat too if it would work out, but
But cats
I
just
have
don't work.
I have too many animals. I have a bunny and I have 2 dogs in the house.
Ah.
So,
Is that dog in the picture behind you? Is that one of your dogs now?
no,
Okay.
that's just a picture.
Mario said something about show us your dog in a different way.
Ah,
Is he
Zoe?
around?
Zoe, where are you, Zoe? Do you want to be
Oh, I can hear feet.
Do you want to be on the show?
Yeah. Hello.
Oh,
I'm
that's
talking to a
really
dog.
cute.
Yeah.
Zoe, look at the camera.
So if you listen on the podcast, there's a dog. And that's about it.
And it's a cute dog.
It is a cute dog. Cool.
Okay.
Right, Kelly, where can people find your work? Where's the best place to get it?
Oh, well, Amazon under Kelly Miller, and then, search one of my book names, like Accusing Mr. Darcy or Death Takes a Holiday at Pemberley. I'm pretty sure I'm the only one.
Fantastic.
And, well, actually, there's another Accusing Mr. Darcy, so be sure you get mine.
Yours is the purple cover, right?
Yes.
Yeah. We'll
Yeah.
leave links to that in the description. There it is. Yes.
Oh, there we
beautiful
go.
looking. We leave
Nice.
description links to that in the description and all that stuff. But we didn't say the dog's name, did we?
Zoe.
Ah, we did. We like to do.
Oh,
a
we
little
didn't say the
competi-
bunny's name though.
There you
Uh,
go. We
Coco.
don't say
No,
it.
wait. We could have had a competition with the bunny's name. Have you got 2 dogs? Did you say you had 2?
I have 2 dogs.
Ah, right. So there's still a name free. So don't say that one.
Okay.
So
And then
if you go on Twitter and share this show and tag us in it, once I put the tweet out later with the podcast, when you share that link, if you share it and hashtag or just write the dog's name, what you think the dog's name is. If you get that right, we will. The first person to get that right, we will gift you a copy of Mr. Darcy's.
Accusing
Kelly's
Mr. Darcy.
book. Yes. So Kelly, be sure to let us know what the name of that second dog, and you guys be sure to share that and comment on who you think the dog or what the dog's name is. But thank you, Kelly, so much for joining us. It's been an absolute pleasure, and I've learned a lot about these dramas, this period, because it's not something I've delved into much. But I think I may have to watch Bridgerton from the recommendations
Oh yeah, of course you were going to say that one.
for research.
What did you call it again? I can't remember what you called it, but I'd never heard that.
Who?
What I called what?
The activities in Bridgerton.
Oh, Rumpy Pumpy.
Rumpy Pumpy, yeah.
You've never heard Rumpy Pumpy?
No, never heard that.
Oh my goodness. Everyone on chat saying thank you, Kelly. You're amazing. You rock, Kelly. There's a lot of love for Kelly. Kelly, thank you so much for joining us. Honestly, it's a
Thank you
pleasure.
so much for having me.
You're very welcome. Your dog is fantastic. And again, we will leave links. We'll send this out on the show later, the YouTube and the podcast. Guys, support the show. Get Marcus's book on pre-order. It looks fantastic. If you're into Sin City, definitely get it. It looks very good. It looks like a graphic novel. Fantastic. Really check that out. And support the authors that support the show, because we need that. But thank you guys, and look forward to Friday. We have a guest coming on the show. We'll announce that tomorrow.
It's a good one as well.
Yeah. So other than that, guys, from us, thank you very much. Stay safe, look after yourselves, and bye-bye. We'll see you soon.
Bye.
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 Guys.